Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zim, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening. So today is Monday the 1st of June 2020. This is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm here with you as usual every evening. Hello everyone. Hi Manish, Linda, Suresh, Margaret. Hi. So today is another beautiful day, and I thought I will come and sit outside just behind our temple, behind our center, and the weather is sun is still very bright and very shiny and still can feed the heat. Hopefully we will get another couple of days, such wonderful days, and after that probably going back to the normal Scottish weather, wet and wind. So during this time we should enjoy this weather. And I have been just reflecting myself that in the past I used to be very shy and not able to speak, and always complain myself and always speak to our members and also my friends that I need to develop how to give talks and how to speak. And now over this COVID-19 and the beginning of giving this talk every day, I feel like I am becoming more talkative and I am becoming like more speaking alone. So sometimes it is good and other time it is not good. So it's quite interesting how our perception works and how it can improve gradually, and an ability to present subjects, matters in different ways. So quite interesting. Yes, Margaret, good evening. Colin, that's a wonderful way to say sunshine is always in your heart. No, that's really good. Yeah, so we need it. So that's why it's quite interesting to reflect that how we change. And in the meantime, I also realize that as we discuss, as I develop or kind of try to speak, language also developed, the way I express subjects also developed, and also occasionally I feel that those readings and past experiences, all the meditation and engaging with other monks and fellow friends, all those just simply comes back in your perception as you speak. It's quite interesting how we preserve the memories in our consciousness, and how we bring it back the very moment when you are speaking or whenever you are doing something. And with me, over the period of this 2 months time of talking, I reflect that those memories and those perceptions, then those experiences from the past, simply just comes out one after another in relation to the different situations and different topics. So this is quite amusing in a way to reflect that how wonderful our mind is, and how fascinating our mind is, that able to preserve so many things, and then able to bring it back as the situation and condition shoots and condition comes together, and this just gradually just uplifts, and this comes as gradually. That's why it also helped me to understand the concept of the so-called saving in our subconsciousness. Whatever we do with our intention, by putting our attention to things, and then we act, whether it is speaking or whether it is verbally doing, or whether it is if we are speaking or thinking constantly again and again. That simply saves in our subconsciousness, and then we think that it's been done and then gone, and as because our life just goes on and further on, and we carry on with our new things, with our life, in different environment comes, and different situation we brought up, and those previous activities seems like we have forgotten it. Seems like it's like never had happened at all, and we even do not remember that things happened. But the very moment when something happens in this time, in this present moment, or something, somebody asks, or like you have to be at the front to speak, like me doing, then those memories slowly just unfolds, and from the subconsciousness that just comes from your heart, just comes from your consciousness, and gradually somehow it's become so live and so beautiful to remember, to reflect. But I am fortunate enough to have this opportunity to learn Buddhism and practice of a meditation, and I would not classify myself as experienced a practitioner or the Buddhist scholar, but I think I have a sufficient understanding to deal with these situations and these emotions and these memories when it comes to the surface. And that's the amazing, and that's, I think, is the benefit from the study and practice of Buddhism. And I do recall so many stories that there are people, after recalling those past memories, or somehow they remember the childhood experiences, or sometimes just in a young age, teenage experiences, and that haunts, and that stressful and anxiety develops, and transform it into kind of deep trouble in their minds and their hearts. I wish that they could have, or they would have a chance to learn meditation before these things comes, and ability to tackle and deal with it. So, and then these are some of the things I think that people should mindful and get access to the Buddhist studies, and particularly Buddhist meditation, that will help them to deal with these emotions and experiences as these comes into the surface, on a surface level. And so sadly this happens, and this is what causes a lot of trouble in so many families and so many people. So that's quite sad, but wish they have studied this at least of a basic Buddhist meditation and introduction to Buddhism. And I do believe that it definitely help significantly in our day-to-day life. And over the period of time, as even Colin is commenting, saying that forget laughing. As day goes by, we become older and older, and we forgot to even the laugh. We become more serious. We become more grumpy, like me myself. In the past, before having any responsibilities and just being a simple monk in one of the temples, and you have nothing to worry, nothing to think too much. You just enjoy your days, reading, working, and that's it. That's done. And now, this since become a kind of the responsible one to deal with all the affairs at the center. It's not just about the affairs of the center and the day-to-day activities, but also teachings, and also people connection, and talking to the people, and different varieties of the people that you have to deal with, different emotions and different backgrounds. And that's how gradually we also lost our sense of humor, and that's also is quite interesting to observe. Oftentimes, whenever I have these thoughts, I just go and enjoy this beautiful silence and quietness, and just walk and walk, walk in the field, just doing the walking meditation. And oftentimes I will just use my different tactics of a practice. Sometimes I will count the steps, and the time, the space or the length of the walking meditation that I have designated. It's about 24 to 26, or sometimes 28. So within this length, I just walk, and sometimes I just walk, counting the steps. And I realize that the counting of steps again never been the same, close, like 27 or 26, like that. And that's again simply based on the thought process, and how you move on, and how you move one step at a time. And so when you have these thoughts, it's not just you lost of a humor, your emotions, but also the effects to our body too. And then after I have experienced such, and then I will just be mindful of that. And then once you become mindful of every steps as you move on, and you can see that there is a consistency of the 26 steps or 25 steps for another couple of times of a round. That's also quite interesting to observe. And oftentimes when I reflect on those experiences, then also realize that it's simply sometimes I just wanted to express myself as a person. This is me, this is mine, like that. And that's quite interesting reflection too. We want to introduce ourselves, identity, that this is me and mine. And this is what is the most important teachings of the Buddha, to give away or to eradicate this personality view, so-called Sakkaya Ditthi. Now with this, it reminds me the discourse from the Samyutta Nikaya, that one of the celestial beings, during the time when the Buddha was residing at the Savatthi Jeta's grove, and one night one of the celestial beings comes down to discuss with the Buddha. And then when this celestial being comes down, and he rather than asking anything, simply straight away to the teachings, the celestial being, so-called Devata, he asks how many must one cut, and how many must one abandon, and how many one should develop when one has surmounted and how many ties is he called one who has crossed of the flood. So this is again also connection to the yesterday's topic on crossing the flood, or the samsara, which I spoke about, the flood of sensuality, flood of views, and flood of ignorance, like that, the four floods, or overwhelmed, and how it affects our day-to-day basis, day-to-day life. And in this case of the devata, the celestial being's question, Buddha replied to him, saying that one must cut off the 5, abandon 5, and must develop further 5. A person who has surmounted 5 ties is called one who has crossed, or crosses the flood. And here the cutting off the 5, cutting off here simply was talking about the feathers, 5 feathers that prevents one from liberating. And in that 5 feathers, the first feather is personality view, and feathers are or samyojanas, feathers are simply the mental mental qualities that prevent us from doing or understanding things as they truly are, or just hides us from cultivating that, and prevents us from doing good things. And that's again feathers. Buddha called his son as a feather, so Rahula, one who prevents. And this Rahula is simply also like the when there is a eclipse. So the eclipse, that's also known as the prevents from seeing the sun, and prevents from having this sunlight. And the same with the Rahula. When the Rahula was born, Buddha at that time, the prince, he was thinking to give up the family, give up the royal, the palace, and will go on a search for the truth. And very moment when he heard that the Prince Yasodhara has given a birth, a son, then immediately his mind, or he just spoke without completely knowing or rejoicing, saying Rahula has born. So which means a feather has born. Or he had a thought that now my son, the relationship that one person will have towards their son is so great, and there is a bond, and with that bond the Buddha will not be able to leave the palace, and will not be able to find the truth. And as a result, he called his son as the feather bond, not allowing him to go and find the truth. But however, he broke that and went into the search for 6 years, and how he became the Buddha, and he spread for 45 years his teachings, dispensation, and it's passed down till now for 2,600 years until we are so fortunate to have it. But anyway, so the feathers means simply prevents us, or not allowing us to see things clearly. And now when the devata asked, the celestial being asked what should be cut off, and the Buddha said that we should cut off these 5 lesser feathers. So that starts off from the personality view. And this personality view, again, it's expression or illustration or demonstration of me, mine, as atta. It's called atta, means the personality view, and this is mine, this is me, and we project our self into by name, by ethnicity, by country, by color, and like that. And now we can see even in America at this time a lot of demonstration and looting going on and conflict going on so much, and even the police cannot do, and that's simpler because of holding this identity of this color and that color, and holding that identity view of this, and this is me, they are, I am this, they are this, like that. So difference, creating a difference between one another is simply on the basis of this identity view. And this is the first thing, according to the Buddha, we have to free ourselves. So rather than having this identity view of this is me and that they are, or I am from this country or this ethnicity, and you are from that ethnicity, that country, so that sort of a view we have to eradicate, cut it off, and only then only what we see is the human one who has got this flesh and blood and the same quality. So there's equality is there, and that is the first ladder to overcome. And then and after we overcome this, or after we have cut off this personality view or identity view, we should take out or free ourselves from any doubts about the truth, about ability to liberate ourselves, and ability to develop ourselves towards the emancipation, and also not attached to any form of so-called distorted rules and rituals, but rather just having the simple and reasonable, comfortable one. Okay, so that is also needs to cut it off, and then further than that, what we have to cut it off is the sensual desire, so entertainment of our senses, and the ill will, so which is again one of the greatest topic, ill will, and now this in America, which is happening, is again based on ill will, so-called patiga. So patiga, we have to develop the kindness to tackle with that. So these 5 should cut off. Okay, so that is the first thing we have to cut, and then in terms of the abandoning, the another 5, the higher feathers, needs to be abandoned too. And this another higher feathers that need to abandon is the lost for formless existence, lost for form existing in the form or formless, and also abandoning our conceit, abandoning restlessness, and abandoning any ignorance, simply having a wisdom, and that is what needs to be abandoning as we study, as we develop, and the third one is what should be developed. And this development, again, Buddha was talking about the development of the spiritual faculties, and that's a faith or confidence, or as belief, and that is we have to develop, and then having develop this confidence, and developing the right effort and the right mindfulness, and being mindful and having a concentrated mind, and having experiential knowledge of the life, and the way we are developing spirituality for the emancipation. So that needs to develop, and that's called the spiritual faculties. And then the the ties that tie us, which also not allow us to this emancipation or the liberation, is again that the in our hearts and minds we have to free these ties called the lust, hatred, delusion, conceit, wrong view, and these are the 5 things, and particularly the conceit and the view are one of those the greatest that we perceive and keep it ourselves, and that causes a lot of trouble and a lot of differences and creating boundaries. And because of those, when the devata or the celestial being ask Buddha about what needs to cut off and what needs to abandon, what needs to develop, and how one could free or surmounting the ties, and Buddha simply answered the celestial being, saying that we have to cut off these lower feathers, abandon for higher feathers, cut off lower feathers and abandoning higher feathers, and developing the spiritual faculties, and cutting off lust, greed, and then lust, hatred and delusion, the conceit and ignorance. I think overall, in a short form, what we can see is that when we have conceit, we develop ego, and we develop differences between one another, and that's how we hold onto or grasp onto our personality view. When we have this personality view and take it as I am the better, I am the one, I am good than anybody else, whether culturally, ethnically, nationally, or color wise, then that's how the conflict begins. And that sort of a view we have to abandon, and once we have abandoned it, and then that gives us the right view. And with the right view is that we are all humans. We have the same the same blood, the color of the blood, and we eat and we brought up, and we shouldn't be dividing by ethnicity, nationality, color, race, or whatever, but give up this thing, and with that we can build up peace and harmony. And so that is what the Buddha was saying, that one who desires to have a peace should abandon these things, and will have a peace within, and as well as expanding that peace to the rest of others, to the whole universe. So that is, I think, is my reflection for tonight of knowing our own identity view, and giving up or cutting off our identity view, but embracing the universality of human beings, being a human. And this all the perception that we have developed culturally or nationally or ethnically, and we should be also able to let it go, and rather than holding to that perception of my ancestors were killed, my ancestors were punished in this way or that way. And so one of the stanzas in Dhammapada says that hatred never ceases by hatred, only by love will cease the hatred. So that's why let's generate this love towards one another and build the peace within and without. So with this, may you be happy, peaceful, and be safe. Take care. In a few minutes time we will have a chanting and guided meditation. So tonight's guided meditation, Ajahn Pira will be leading, and the chanting also Ajahn Pira will be leading. I am attending another meeting, the interfaith meeting at 7 o'clock. So do not forget to join with Ajahn Pira for the chanting and guided meditation. So with this, I end for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow at same time, 6:30. Thank you, and may the Buddha bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.